Hey, this is Alejandro Mayahan, so welcome to another video in the series How to Rank for Everything and Anything and Then Some, a video series in which I show you live how you can rank for any niche, any keyword, any city. It doesn't matter. There's a true and tested methodology that we've been developing at GetMeLinks for the last 6 years, and in today's video you are going to learn the step-by-step process to know exactly what pages to publish, what backlinks to get, how many branded queries do you need to have, what competitors are the best competitors to model your campaign based on. All of that you will learn on this video. There is two foundational pieces of content that I recommend you to watch before you dive into any of this series. They will be both in the description box of this video. The main one will be here, which is the step-by-step process in order to get the data that we will use through this process in order to craft a winning link building and SEO campaign. Now, today we are doing Plumbers, and I've chosen Atlanta as the example city. We've done a lot of work for plumbers and any other trade that you can possibly imagine, which has gotten our clients results like this and this and this. The reason I'm saying this is so that you see that if you make the right decisions at the strategic development part of the link building and SEO process, you can get amazing results. If you disregard the strategy and you just go ahead and start building links and publishing content and whatnot, you will not get consistent results. And I've chosen Atlanta as the example city because there is a very peculiar state of affairs in the search engine results pages for this particular niche, where the MACPAC and the organic rankings are completely decoupled. You see completely different results in both of them. So if you see a situation like this, you might wonder, okay, what do I do? Should I put all my work into the 3-pack, right? Or local listings? Should I put my work in the organic? Is there any advantage into putting work into ranking in the organic? Well, let's start answering this. First off, what do we have here? We have Atlantis Plumbing, Fix and Flow, and Atlanta Plumbing and Drain. As you can see here, these guys have been for 15 plus years in business, 10 plus years in business, and 5 plus years in business. In the local rankings on the map pack or even in the actual maps feature, the factors of that algorithm and the factors of the organic rankings algorithm, which is the rankings down here, are completely different. It is a very different methodology to rank on both of them. In this video, you will learn what matters for both of them. For the map pack, some of the most important things are the total quantity of reviews, the score of those reviews, the velocity of those reviews, the sentiment on those reviews. Then is the completeness of your Google My Business profile, the geographic relevance of the GBP, where in the city, in every city there is a 0.0, and the closer your GBP is to that, that is an advantage. It doesn't mean that you cannot rank with businesses that are farther from that, but it's a boost. The internal linking throughout all your website and where the GBP appears embedded within your site, that also a multiplying factor, and the amount of backlinks that link to your GBP as embeds, aka your citations, the consistency on the info on those citations as well, the name, address, phone. Then the completeness of the GBP also includes things like your opening hours, how accurate are those, and then Google is gonna get all the user data from people who are going there and visiting your shop with their phone, with location enabled and all that stuff. And how long do they spend there? And are they there on the times where you say that your business is open? All these different things are how Google is going to cross-validate that data. The volume and quality of your service pages will also influence on the GBP. All of those different things are great, but very few things trump the quantity, just the sheer volume and quality and sentiment of reviews, as well as the age of the business. What does that mean? It will be very hard for any plumber to rank right now on the map pack in Atlanta and the Big Ten. There's a bunch of other sub areas that I will cover later on the video that you will see a lot easier, because the competitors are heavily entrenched. These guys are going to be very, very hard to outrank. But what you've seen, if you were attentive when I did the scroll down here, is that the top 3 organic results are not any of these guys here. And there is a reason for that. There's a reason Atlantis and Fix and Flow aren't ranking as high, or that the guys here for ATL Plumbing Company are also not ranking as high. We have Mr. Plumber, Superior Plumbing, then Reddit with a closed thread, which is not very good. You cannot get there anymore. People also ask, these two results are hard baked into the algorithm. It's not like you can rank auto rank Reddit. You'll be only competing for those two positions there. Number 3 is hard baked. Number 4 is hard baked. This the people also ask. Then Yelp, which will be there for most queries like this. Estes Air, which okay is outrankable, and then Reliable Air, and last the next hyperlocal competitor, Plumworks. But as you see, the third hyperlocal competitor who is actually ranking in organic is actually positions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And if you rank the third in your class, you're only ranking the 8th in the organic results. So you really want to compete for positions 1 or 2. And in this video, I'll show you exactly how to win. So as you can see, very, very different SERPs. Let's go through how to rank in the organic here, which is where I believe virtually any plumber in Atlanta could be ranking. And while about 60 to 65% of the conversions into leads will happen on this feature that you see here, the other 40% will be calling someone here at the top, and that could and should be you. So let's get you there. Let me show you how. Right, so you're gonna need an analysis just like this one. To know how to do that, go watch this video here on the corner called How Many Links Do I Need to Rank Number 1, which I'll show you the exact step-by-step process to get this data. Now that we already have the data, also by the way, if you don't wanna do all of that work and get the data by yourself and whatnot, and sign up to Ajax Reps and all these different things that you have to do, you can always pay us $49. Go to getmelinks.com/link-report and get yourself a copy of this report. Now, these are the 3 competitors that we are going to analyze today, and we are going to be putting most of our focus on these guys here, Mr. Plumber Atlanta. Why? Out of the 3 of them, they perform the best, the number 1 in Atlanta, and throughout all the other sub keywords that appear the most often. Also, they have a lower DR than Superior Plumbing, which is the other next best competitor there when it comes to link building only. I'm not making any sort of qualitative assessment of these businesses as plumbers at all. Okay, I will only make a commentary on the link building and just general SEO factors. And then Plumworks is good to keep here on this list of 3 competitors because remember they were the 3rd competitor, even though they were in position 8, but it's the first competitor that we can catch up with because they also have the lowest amount of link points. Alex, why are you talking about link points and not just backlinks? Well, very good question. Backlinks can give you any of these 3 things. They either give you trust, or they give you authority, or they give you relevance based on the trust, authority, and relevance that they have. Trust, however, is a bit of a conditio sine qua non. You have to have trust in order for anything else to matter. And trust is fundamentally measured in traffic, which means when it comes to getting backlinks pointing to your website, you want to get backlinks from sites that they themselves are trusted. Those are going to be the backlinks that really are going to carry most of your rankings. Yes, you need the citations. Yes, you need some pillow backlinks, whatever. You will acquire those organically in most of the cases, and they're the lower effort backlinks to get. But when it comes to really competing and get points, right, I'm slightly simplifying here the algorithm for you. You need to get contextual backlinks on sites that are trusted. Once we check that box, then the next thing is, okay, the sites are trusted, the sites have good organic traffic of their own accord, those websites rank for their own target keywords, amazing. Now, what kind of power do I need, which is going to be the authority, okay? And for that, we've already done that job for you by segmenting the authority in 5 different buckets. Now, this bucket here doesn't matter so much, okay? There's going to be mostly very weak backlinks. Anything under DR30 is not really worth putting effort into getting links from that segment. You will likely get them, and a single link here, let's say a DR75, will outpower 20 plus DR10 or DR15s, right? Because it's a logarithmic scale. It's not a linear scale in terms of the power measurement. It's a logarithmic scale, which means a DR70 is worth many, many, many times more than a DR7. No, just 10 times more. Amazing. Once we have the authority and we can basically look at the distribution of authority of a winning backlink profile, and we see that in this particular case, they have most of the links coming from pretty strong sources, which kind of makes sense, right? This is probably why they are number 1. Then we can look into what links do we need to get, right? What kind of authority, what kind of anchor text profile should we use, and what's the best link acquisition tactic to get those links in the most cost-effective manner possible. You will learn all of this in this video. If you stick along for the next, I guess, an additional 30 minutes, in which I will give you an uber in-depth case study here. So we need to get these backlinks here alongside with all the other ones. We can probably ignore this, but in order to compensate, we should probably get a few more DR60s just to compensate for these 16, which they will also matter, but just way, way, way less. Okay, amazing. So the last thing is, why am I saying points, which was the beginning of this question, is because of the relevance, okay? A backlink is not a backlink, it's not a backlink. So most backlinks out there in the wild will account for about 1 point. Okay, why is that? Relevance is measured at 2 different levels. And if you watch any of my previous videos, you can skip the next 3 minutes. Website level relevance and page level relevance. At the website level is how tightly related is the website that's linking to me, to my business. So for a plumbing business, anything in home renovations, anything that's Atlanta based, anything that has to do with plumbing or trades or even tools could be relevant. Basically something that would make logical sense, right? If you look at the services, why would a website about web servers in Bangalore link to my local plumber in Atlanta? That is a zero relevance website. However, if that website has high trust, the link might still be fine. It's just gonna score insanely, insanely low, right? Half a point. Now, if the website is relevant, the next level is the page level relevance, in which if the page within that website is perfectly relevant to the page within your site where that link points to, then it's going to get an additional boost in the relevance all the way up to 2 points. Example is a page on a home improvement website talking about common issues with toilets in old homes that links to your, pipe unclogging service page. That is perfectly relevant. That's going to get amazingly 2 points, right? But if the same page links to your page that talks about water heater repair, the relevance is lost, even though it's within the same niche, because it doesn't make contextual sense. So that needs to be addressed. In the wild, out there, links that most people will get either organically or through active acquisition methods will normally get only 1 point. And that is amazing news for us, because as we engage into our own link building, we can try and beat them at the relevance level and try to get at least 1 point in all of our backlinks, if not 2. Awesome. So now we know that we need to get a profile that looks like this. But what happens at the keyword level? What anchor text? What kind of links do I need to get for every one of my keywords? What pages are good to target? And what competitors do we actually face? Before we enter into that, one last check. At which speed are these competitors building links? About 2 per month. This is the last 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. So we know that as we start building links, we need to build more than 2 per month, ideally 4 per month, so we can catch up as soon as possible with them. Otherwise, they will be just as far as they were when we started, and all our efforts will be moot. So this is what the average winning profile looks like. However, I've modeled my recommendations here to equal what Mr. Atlanta Plumber is doing, okay? Now, this is at the tier 1 level. As you will see on the analysis in a minute, some of these pages really should do with some tier 2 support, which means the pages, the exact URL page that links to you, needs to get that page itself some more backlinks pointing to it to increase the URL strength, or the page authority, if you like to use Moses' ancient terminology, so that we equiparate really our profile to the winning profiles. Because as you can see here on the analysis that we've done on the competitors, actually a lot of the backlinks that they have pointing to their website have been supported with an additional layer of tier 2 links, either actively or miraculously, right? I would say there's probably some active SEO going on here, right? Tier 2s are not that easy to acquire for most backlinks. You need to do it yourself in most cases. So we know we're gonna have to build some tier 2s here to our brand new tier 1 links that we will build either through Haro, Digital PR, or Guest Post, which I would recommend you here. Amazing. So let's analyze this exact backlink campaign, and then I will go through the content, the branded signals, and everything else you need to know in order to completely crush it in this niche. So our big niche defining keyword, Plumber Atlanta, crazy search volume. This is our fictitious brand. Mayhan's Plumbers Atlanta. Very importantly, I've made sure that I include the keywords in my domain name so that I can be as relevant as Mr. Plumber Atlanta. At the current state of the algorithm, having an exact match or partial match domain is insanely OP, completely overpowered. They are going to have an extra ranking boost because every single keyword query, right, like this is going to increase their branded signals, even though it's not necessarily a branded term because this is just a generic term, right? Superior Plumbing is going to have a slight advantage because they have plumbing there, and they're going to have the disadvantage that they don't really have plumbing or Atlanta anywhere in the domain name. So this is apples to apples, right? Mayhan's Plumbers Atlanta is the same as Mr. Plumbers Atlanta. Amazingly, if your brand name does not have the keywords and everyone on the top of search has the keywords in the domain name, you will have to outdo them at the backlinks part with more keyword rich backlinks pointing to your profile in order to balance that out. So I'm going to ignore these competitors here because they don't look like us, and Superior Plumbing have a generally weaker profile. So I'm also going to ignore what they've done, and I'm just literally going to clone the backlink profile that they have here, right? So I'm going to recommend you to have as many as the strongest competitor for every bucket. So this is why we're doing 8 links here instead of 4, so that we can also outdo them slightly. And then everything else, I'm just going to do the same, which in total is going to be 51 backlinks at the root domain level. That's what you're going to need in order to catch up at the exact URL. But remember, they had more points than that. So we kind of have to go and build some more links at the inner page level to also build out the entire profile of the website. We can't just build links to the homepage and expect to rank. What are we going to be doing with these backlinks? Well, I'm going to make sure that most of my DR60s are this partial and exact match, right? I'm going to make sure that my anchor text there is very rich, but most importantly is the distribution here. For basically every 3.5 branded backlinks that you get, you are allowed to go with one partial match anchor text, and for every 3 partial match anchor text that you build, then you are then allowed to build 1 exact match. So in summary, right, you need to build 9 branded links to then go and build 9 or 10 branded links to go and build 3 partial match, and then you can go and build 1 link that has exact match, right? So this is branded, this is partial, and this is exact match. If you do it the other way around and you go too aggressive because you're lazy SEO, right? And you say, okay, Plumber Atlanta, that's what my business is. I have it on my brand name, amazing. Let me build a handful of links. Let me start with that, right? And do like 5 or 6 exact match. Oh, that's a small number. I'm gonna rank. Boom, immediately you disqualify yourself. You will get stuck here in under 100 page, 1 million forever. You'll never rank. Bad news. Okay, a couple of services pages, and then we're gonna enter into sub-locations so that you can see what a winning strategy looks like. We have to support all of our services. Why? Many of them will be way easier to rank than the main term. We rank those first, we start getting some traffic, some leads. Those leads will convert into clients. They continue to pay for our SEO campaign over time, and it will give us more strength. So in order to really rank for the big terms, you cannot go from 0 to rank at the top for this because the volume of traffic that you'll be getting is too high and you don't have the trust yet. There is certain stages in your rankings that you have to go first, and you need to go to the 100 visitors a month, then 500 visitors a month, then 1,000, and then multiple thousands, right? There's a whole theory behind this in terms of the amount of visibility that Google will give anyone at any given time based on the amount of visibility that they've given them before and what they did with those visitors. Google the avalanche technique. Emergency Plumbers, Mr. Plumber, and Eris Andrews. Now, Emergency Plumbers are not a comparable competitor. Why? They're an exact match domain for the keyword. We're gonna have a tough time outranking them. What we wanna get is number 2 here. Let's outdo Mr. Plumber Atlanta. Amazing. What are we gonna do? The exact same thing as they did, and then 1 more. Okay, what are we gonna be doing with that? Okay, amazing. 4 links we build in, 3 are gonna be partial match, 1 is gonna be exact. Glorious, right? We can also ignore this one, like I said, right? Very high DR. They're only ranking because they're a high DR website, right? This is the most comparable. Now, another service, okay? Service page, service page, service page, service page. Amazing, same deal. Mr. Plumber, Reliable Air, we're gonna ignore. Why? Because they don't have any backlinks. They only rank because they're at DR38. Let's aim for this DR27 on our domain. If we outdo them, amazing. And they have 1 backlink. Let's do the backlink plus an additional 1. What are we gonna do on both? Partial match. Very, very easy. Okay, Superior Plumbing, the guys that we saw earlier on our analysis, one position behind with no backlinks at the page level. Later on this video, I will do an analysis of both domains at a few of the different factors, and you will see why Mr. Plumber Atlanta also has a slightly stronger case in general to rank than Superior Plumbing. It's multiple layers to consider here. Now we enter into sub-locations, okay? And Superior Plumbing is doing really good over Mr. Plumber Atlanta, even though Mr. Plumber has 2 backlinks here, which if we want to compete, we're gonna have to do that, plus 1 more. Ignore this distribution. That happens because Plumbing Dr. GA has a truckload of links because it's the homepage, which seems like it's a hyper-local competitor for Marietta. And they're gonna throw this ratio off. You don't have to treat it as any other keyword. Only look at the anchor text profile of these 2 guys, which will basically tell you to go with partial and exact match. Amazing. Johns Creek, the first result that we have is Johns Creek Plumbing.com. We have to completely ignore it. Hyperlocal competitor, exact match domain. We are not going to outrank these guys. We might, but never expect it, right? Superior Plumbing, and then Sean here. Okay, Sean doesn't really have anything, a couple of DS60s, but Superior Plumbing is our reference. They have 1 link, they have 2. Okay, cool. Let's build 2 backlinks. What is this brand links? It's because of this homepage. Remember, go with partial. Okay, you could always do Mayhan's Plumbers, Johns Creek. That's okay. Right? Never go with an anchor text like this, even if the SERP says exact match, because this is the single most unnatural backlink anchor text ever that can get you into trouble if you get a manual review. Next location, Powder Springs. Okay, Superior Plumbing, amazing, reliable air. We saw them before, and Davis and Sons. Non-comparable competitor, hyperlocal. You see very low DR and ranking really, really well. These guys here, nothing amazing. Let's go and build 1 backlink. Nothing here. Never put money on this anchor text really, unless you have to balance it because you went over optimized here. Do partial maps. Bob's your ankle. Alpharetta, what do we see here? Mr. Plumber, amazing. Superior Plumbing, amazing. And then Angie's List. Angie's List, again, of course, ignore it. Whatever they have here, you need to straight up ignore it. And all these competitors here don't have anything at all. Really, really good news. Let's go and build 1 very strong backlink, do partial match, and you will be golden. Plumber in Roswell, same guys as before. Another hyperlocal competitor. Let's ignore it, right? Nice and easy. They don't have anything. Let's go and build 1 link here. Ignore this. You could go with exact match, apparently. And then last, Douglasville. Now, New Era, non-comparable. West Georgia, non-comparable. Reliable air, also not necessarily comparable, and very strong DR. So here is where I would go cautiously and build 1 backlink. I will do partial match, of course, right? Partial match. But I wouldn't expect to rank on the top 3 because I don't really see anyone like me on the top 3. So the question is, let's build 1 backlink to see what happens and if we can get the next best position. Now, I want you to look at the small detail here in these 2 keywords, Roswell and another one that I'll show you in a second. As you can see here, even if there's some backlinks, right? The average URL of the backlinks that point to the competitors is almost nothing, which is the normal case for most brand new backlinks. If you score a new guest post from a website, even if it's a DR90 website, it's going to be a brand new page. Maybe it gets 1 or 2 internal links, so this article is an orphan. Amazing, right? It might be on the homepage for a minute, and then it will receive some juice, but eventually it will just move into the archive. The URL strength of that page will be very low, but it does live in a strong domain. Cool. A big difference here with this Johns Creek, where you can see here that the actual pages, right? This said 5, this is 3.7. The actual pages that are ranking to the competitors who are right now at the top have way stronger URL strength. This is how you identify which ones of your tier 1 links will be a good target for the tier 2s. We know we have to strengthen our brand new links a little bit after we publish them. We can't just throw tier 2 links the moment after they go live, right? You need to at least give it about a month, right, for the links to age, and then throw some CTR and then throw the tier 2s. Amazing. This is how you know which ones of your tier 1 backlinks to strengthen, when you look at the average link URL strength of the links that are making your competitors rank. right? Here, plumberatlanta.com, right? Mr. Plumber with their water heaters has one backlink. Yes, sure, but the URL strength is very weak. So you don't need to build tier 2 links. However, if you were to go and power these 2 links with some tier 2 backlinks, that will give you an additional layer of power that when most SEOs analyze this SERP, unless they do this, which most want to do, right? If they're trying to figure out, hey, why did this brand new website, eat our cake and outrank us here? They'd be like, I don't know. When I look at it, they only have 2 links. Let's go and build one more link. What they missed is that you power all of your backlinks and you massively increase the URL strength. This is why we look at it. Okay, well, when we put all of that together, remember, we needed 51 backlinks pointing to our homepage, and then for all these applications and services, we will need an additional 15 backlinks. In total, that gives us 66 backlinks that we have to build. This is the exact DR power distribution of those backlinks, very heavy on the high DR links. That's just the reality of this niche. And we do know we need to power a bunch of our backlinks, okay? I recommend at least 13 of your backlinks should be powered with 3 tier 2 links, and 2 of your backlinks at least with 10 or more tier 2 links. Now, I said at the beginning that 60% of the conversions will happen on the local pack, which gives us about 40% of the conversions that will happen on the organic. But 40% of 4,600 is a lot, is at least 2,000 people who will interact with those 2 results in the organic. And well, let's say that will get you what, 200 leads per month. How many of them can your sales team convert? Probably a lot. That is a lot of money, right, that you are leaving on the table if you only focus on the map pack. And it's also a lot of money that you can use then to continue working through all those conversions, serve them really well, get reviews, start boosting your GBP with that, keep doing more link building work through citations to your GBP, and eventually you can crack through the work that you do in the organic into the Mac pack and really dominate a niche. And this is why creating a clear strategy before you spend a single dollar on actual execution, right? For free if you do this yourself, 50 bucks if you hire us to do the analysis for you. This is how you can get a really winning campaign and dominate a niche. But there's of course a handful more things that we are going to need before we win. We need to analyze these 3 competitors, Mr. Plumber, Superior Plumbing, and Plumbworks, in 2 more ways. We need to look at how many pages do they have ranking, for which you're gonna go here, top pages. And as you can see, Mr. Plumber Atlanta has 165 pages. Superior Plumbing has 198. And Plumbworks, which was that competitor that was the 3rd competitor in 8th position, has 140 pages, which tells me that on average I should be building about 160 to 170 pages. Hyper narrow topical map. Don't start talking about everything and everything. Just keep it very, very close. Service pages, location pages, have them all indexed, have nothing else there on your website but that. And that's what you need to cover from a content point of view. If you don't know what pages you need to create, very simple. You download the list of all these 3, you consolidate them, you feed them into ChatGPT and says, hey, tell me what pages I need to publish, and it will help you organize your topical map. If you want to do this yourself, I have another video that I will link here in which in under 20 minutes, knowing 0 about the niche using ChatGPT with one of the older models, I built a topical map live on screen, and you can do it too because it's extremely simple. I even figured out the right URL structure, the hierarchy of content, everything. And then you can use any method. There's plenty of videos out there on how to write content with AI and make it really good that you can use to create these pages. Just make sure that they're really high quality. There's one more check that we need to do in all of these competitors. We need to look at how much branded search volume do they all have, for which you're gonna come at the organic keywords. You're gonna add a filter, and you're gonna filter the keyword by the brand name. So I'm gonna do Mr. Plumber. For these guys, I'm gonna do Superior here. You need to find what's the term, right? If a lot of them have like a lot of keywords in the name, you need to find out what would be the name that really would define the brand instead of just looking here. And here I'm gonna do works. Obviously, plumbing, that doesn't really mean anything. Right, I cannot look for Alana, that doesn't work either. And Mr. Plumber has 14 branded keywords, and even Mr. Plumber Atlanta, the exact brand name here has 100 searches plus, but there is a big Mr. Plumber for 2,600. That's a lot of brand recognition. And then you have by phone number, Mr. Plumber near me, prices, what the softener, right? This is a very strong brand presence that you will have to fight. If you can't build it, because it's hard to build brand presence, it's a lot harder to cheat, you will have to build more links than they do, because links you can always get more. There's a million different ways of getting more backlinks. Some of those ways also enhance the amount of branded signals that you're gonna get, namely HARO, digital PR, and guest posts when done smartly. If you use your brand name in the anchor text, will increase the amount of websites that mention you, which will in turn eventually softly influence the amount of branded queries from people seeing that. You can run ads to your brand in so many different ways. I have a full 40+ minute video on the description box below that outlines basically the entire process of how to enhance any of the areas of your SEO, where I give some details on how to enhance brand searches. What does Superior Plumbing have? Quite a lot as well, okay? And then PlumWorks, a bit hard to know if this Plumbing Works or Plumber Works are actually branded terms, but Google will consider them to be anyway. And as you can see, all of them have between 2,000 and 3,000 branded searches per month. So you have to work into building that kind of brand equity in any way that you can. There is one last question, however, that we haven't solved, and is why do these guys that we saw here that has such a fantastically strong GBP not rank in the organic? And once you throw them into Ahrefs, you will see that they actually got hit multiple times. They got hit here in March last year. That update was absolutely brutal in so many different ways. And there's a bunch of things that were related to the update: cost of retrieval, the quality of content, the volume of content, whether the content was high quality from a helpful standpoint. There's a lot of things there that I can make different videos for that. And a lot of the websites that maybe linked to them could have got hit by the update as well, which means that maybe they lost a lot of link equity. There's a lot of reasons that it would need a full audit on this. I've done multiple audits, you can watch them on my YouTube channel, on this to figure out why they got hit. But they got hit, and then they got hit again here in the last update in June just this year, and they've gotten pretty much wiped, right? So if we were to look at what's the deal, we can do the same searches. Okay, what's the brand search volume for Atlantis? How many pages do they have? And turns out they have a lot more pages than the average competitor. You will see here when this thing has they have 300 pages that rank now. But as you can see, they've lost a lot of keywords. So maybe when they were at the top, they have even more pages. So when you look at the actual pages that they have, they're a bit different from the average winning competitor right now, in which they have a lot of top of the funnel keywords like toilet squealing after flushing, right? And then when you actually look at the content, it's not necessarily amazing. It's a big wall of text with no rich media other than the photo at the top. There's no internal backlinks. It looks like it's been published in a rush. Whether it was fully AI powered or not, I don't know. I'm not gonna do that analysis here, right? I don't know how well keyword optimized this is. Like if you run it through Surfer SEO or Page Optimizer Pro, I don't know how well it scores. But the issue that I can see immediately is that if they've published hundreds and hundreds of this kind of content, and the average score of these pieces of content is low and is deemed mostly unhelpful, when it's also missing a lot of EAT, there's no metadata here, like who published this, when, right? There's a lot of things that are missing here from an on-page trust building point of view. Likely the user experience on these pages will be quite low, which in turn, when you analyze the website as a whole, even if the service pages were good, if tons of these other pages were bad, it means that the website as a whole would have gotten demoted. And it's most likely what's happened here is what happened with loads of websites like this that got hit on the March and June updates. And if you get hit in multiple updates in a row, it means that the fundamental thing that was wrong with your website did not get fixed between updates. This is a fantastic case to illustrate that the single most important and powerful thing that you can do for the success of your brand in the organic channels, right, in the organic search channels, is going to be to spend as much time as necessary understanding what is working and why, figuring out why. Get your hands in data, right? Open Ahrefs, do the analysis, watch the videos that I recommend so you also know all the different dimensions and how to analyze that. And if you watch the video, you will know that the ads that you run in search are also important. Spending money on Google Ads has been proven to increase SEO performance. Why? A couple of reasons there. You can be a tin hat and think, oh, if you give Google money, Google will like you more. That's okay, not sure about that. From an algorithmic standpoint, it does make sense because Google has one more signal that you are a legitimate brand, because as you have to run ads, you need to add all your company info, all the different things. So they have more info about you that they can verify that against your GPP. Then Google has more user engagement signals to evaluate your website because they also have the signals from the people who interact with the ads. How long do they stay on the website? Do they convert or not? So if I send you through ads 1,000 visitors and they're all very, very happy and they call you and they convert and then they visit the location, or you know, they eventually end up leaving a review because obviously everyone is logged in Chrome, then Google knows, okay, well, you are legitimate. Let me start showing you more on the actual organic rankings as well, because users like you as a result, so I am safe. Google wants to offer good results. Whether they achieve that or not, that's a different story, but that's what they want to do, right? They also want to offer results that makes Google more money. So read that as you will. Mr. Plumber Atlanta is running PPC, whereas Superior Plumbing, as far as we can see here, isn't. And the guys from Plumbworks are also running some PPC. And the guys from Atlantis are not running PPC. From what we can see here in Ahrefs, if they are and this data is erroneous, then that's what it is. The one thing also to notice here is that most likely powered by the length of time that they've been at the top before they got hit a year ago, and because of how strong the performance in Maps is, ChatGPT is absolutely loving Atlantis, while Mr. Plumber Atlanta and Superior Plumbing haven't gotten that much love. But of course, in the Google AI side of things, Mr. Plumber Atlanta is doing amazing on the AI overviews, and Superior Plumbing not that good. So there's going to be another reason, right? Gemini also giving them a lot of love, Perplexity a lot of love. So you can see that combination, right, of having a very sharp website, having a lot of content there, good content that performs really well. It's going to pay off both in traditional search and AI power search. Awesome. To summarize all of this, 66 quality backlinks. I recommend in a case like this, go primarily hard on digital PR because you need most links to the homepage and high DR links. Then guest posts for your inner pages. Publish 150 to 160 quality service and location oriented pages. Make them highly engaging, highly quality. Look at what the top competitor has been doing and just do it better. Do everything you can to build your brand equity with Google, starting by running as many Google ads as you possibly can and you can afford. And that's what will get you a lot of results if your situation is like this. Now, if you don't feel like doing all of this work by yourself, which I understand is a lot of work, even from the starting point of just getting the data to know what to do, you can come here to getmelinks.com. You can go to the top right corner, the link report, go there, grab your copy of the link report. It will be delivered to you in less than 24 hours. And it comes with a complimentary 30-minute session with our team in which we will look at your unique situation for the keywords that you want to rank in your niche, in your city, right? The links that you have, we will analyze those and we'll figure out where you are, where the competitors are, and how to rank you. In that 30-minute sessions, you will come out of the deal for just $49 with a bespoke SEO campaign ready for you to execute. And if you want to hire us for the link building part, which is going to be 80% of the job, we will be more than happy to help you. This is exactly what you can expect from us. Only the very best of backlinks for your campaign to get you those results. Thank you very much for watching. This was Alejandro Mayahan signing out. Catch up with me tomorrow for a different niche.